A film without a camera. The concept and the process of drawn-on-film animation.
I could visualize the equivalent of these things in the picture area. Things could skip and leap about joyfully, or they could drag themselves tragically around.
As McLaren says, drawn-on-film animation is about putting your thoughts, the sounds you hear, the words surrounding you onto a film stock.
Lai's aspiration in this work was simple. He wished to transfer the ecstatic energies of sound, colour and movement in his film.
Everyone has a different relationship with film, but this technique goes back to the roots of filmmaking. While it can be considered as one of the purest forms of art in cinema, it still remains to be discovered.
It's such a wonderful thing to be able to do, to be always carrying around the materials of your making at any moment, to be able to sit down with a little board and some film and some paints or inks or whatever and be able to extend the work.
Drawn-on-film animation is a cinema genre where the films are made without a camera. To make it, all you need is a film stock and your imagination and creativity. You can draw, stumble, scratch, glue flowers or feathers, or even paint. You can even lick it or spit on it. This film by Vicky Smith is a perfect example of all the techniques you can use in DOF. Using her tongue as a tool and stamp for her film, Vicky pushes back the barriers of normal standards of what can be used in direct animation and shows that anything is possible in this genre. Sound and image can be done at the same time, which brings authenticity to the film.
The sound could not be artificed separately from the image, so that whatever the image was, the sound would be exactly that. The image and soundtrack were made by using simple lines, horizontal, vertical, curved, from dry transfer sheets applied directly onto 16mm film.
By reproducing the exact same thing made on the frames on the soundtrack, we can then obtain the sound of the visual. We basically hear what we see, as the same pattern is made on both elements.
It was the spacing between these lines that determined the tone and pitch of the sound.
Hearing what we see depicts a sentiment of truth and gives a concrete aspect to the film.
Okay, close that and here, then here.
That relationship between an image and a sound, instead of being maybe added later, maybe dubbed, was actually sync from the moment it was made, exactly. So what you see is what you hear.
Unlike Lis Rhodes, some filmmakers prefer to find their soundtrack first and then create the visual according to the sound. For example, Len Lai synchronized his visuals to his own sounds.
I used the sound effects which I got from one of my works called Storm King.
And then in Free Radicals, he scratched on black film and made these marvellous electrical signs that wriggle like lightning.
Chad White's Metal Dogs of India, made in 1985, was created visually from the audio. As he would say,
the film itself is a sort of Dadaist collage of animated images drawn directly into the celluloid surface of the film in hundreds of tiny pictures, all set to music.
Well, the music comes first, because the music existed first. In this case, because I didn't have a lot of tools, what I have to do is take the music and reduce it to what they used to call a dope sheet, which means I had to measure every frame of music so I can go into the car and synchronize it.
I always have the feeling that
the 20s and the 30s and the Dada movement? It was a great deal of fun.
No, not at the time. But no, it was very tense, and there was no humor in it. But what we did was to upset things, but subconsciously to clear the way, as I said before, for something new which we didn't know yet what it might be.
Previous abstract filmmakers had wanted geometrical shapes, they'd wanted precise control, the previous modernist filmmakers, like the Germans.
They hated things they did not comprehend or what would not explicitly make sense. Abstract filmmakers such as Man Ray, Len Lai or Norman McLaren were not always applauded.
Norman McLaren, vous n'aimez pas les entrevues?
Non, j'ai fait mes films pour éviter les entrevues. Les films sont une espèce d'entrevue avec moi. C'est moi mes films.
Vos films, il faut quand même, il faut les voir, il faut les comprendre aussi.
On doit les comprendre sans explication.
Each idiom plays the keyboard of your mind in a different way. I mean, All Souls is that kind of film. It's a completely new experience.
They were up against the terror of uncovering something that, however beautiful it looks, a kind of a vision that's created by the mind streaming. It's non-nameable. The whole independent film movement, or the entire idea of film as an art, is just a passing madness.
I've kind of made it my goal to make a kind of an imaginary toolbox of all the things I can do with film, either by stapling it or burning it or gluing it or peeling off stuff from it or combining it together. I just want to make a very, very big compendium of what handmade films could be.